Okay, so it's Thursday, September 26th, and I'm going to report on what we did yesterday with regard to Harbor and what we're going to do today, and really quickly. So this video should be under 15 minutes, I hope. This is the video you're going to go watch to catch up when you come in middle stream, and I say go watch the video and catch up. So yesterday we set out with a goal to get Postgres installed. Video coming, yeah. And we did. We got it. We got it working and installed. The problem is, in fact, I'm going to put this down to the top. After we got it all installed, we finished the build, deploy, and undeploy scripts, which the deploy and undeploy is basically just kubectl apply -k using customize. And there's no templates. There's no template substitutions happening right now in customize. That'll come later when we do vaults and stuff like that. It's still in the to-do list. But we need to do that. And then the undeploy is ridiculously easy. That's just a kubectl delete everything in that namespace. So those are done. The build, of course, is now done because once we changed the tag for Postgres from 13 to 16.4, the build is now working and it's going in, and all that stuff ready's up, no problem. At one point yesterday, we got everything working. It was all working. It was ready. And then we spent probably 2 hours trying to get the web interface in a way that could be accessed. And that's because this is a VM running in Windows, and I actually had to redo minikube. I should probably put that here. So we tried the Kimu driver. Let me add this really quick. We tried the Kimu to the none and the Docker driver, and I had to install a bunch of prerequisites for that to do none. I had to install creectl and all this stuff. I spent a lot of time installing prereqs for drivers, for minikube drivers. So we lost a lot of time on that, but I feel like it was educational. There's probably you can go watch the VOD for the next 60 days, but if you really care to do all that. Otherwise, we ended up landing on Docker because of a resource issue. Went with Docker, the Docker driver, and we actually got that to work. Actually, now that I remember it, I think we actually got the Kimu 2 driver to work. Both of them allowed us to install everything, but I'm trying to recall if we ever had a successful version of the whole thing with all the stuff being ready. We saw there was at least one time yesterday where everything was installed and ready, and there was no need to disable anything. And by the way, don't try to disable Redis. We disabled Redis just to see if we could get it to work, because Redis was the problem. And we ended up, I noticed it in the values file. It actually still needs to do caching, so it just does it in a different way. And that also failed. So right now we're stuck, and that's what we're going to do today. Right now we're stuck on the Redis problem. So figure out why Harbor cannot access Redis. And we did all of our, we walked up the events, everything, and the errors is that Harbor can't create its cache because it can't talk to Redis. And this is a known problem. It's like all over the internet. We found all the things, but we couldn't get anything to do to fix it. So that's where we are. We're stuck on that. I don't think it's resource related, but it might actually be related to the fact that when we were trying to get all these drivers to work, and we were trying to get a way to view the Harbor interface, the web interface, I did a lot of stuff with networking. I didn't do anything to the system to Anton specifically explicitly that I can think of. We started up some SSH proxies and stuff like that. Those things we rebooted Anton, so those should have all gone away. It is possible that we have screwed up Anton in some way. Anton is the VM, and so somehow Anton is unable to do the routing. It is also possible that I brought it up the first time and Core DNS was not up yet before I ran the install. within Kubernetes. And so the second time I did it, I let all of the services for Kubernetes come up, and I checked the system, services to make sure they were all ready before I did any apply. And I applied and it went in, but then from that point on, it's having a problem getting Redis. It says that it can't resolve it, and so I have a feeling it might be DNS related, but I don't know. So that's where we are, and we're going to be looking at that. So if I can't get this working today, the I'm gonna try to just go through the steps again and recreate it. Maybe I missed something by just running run the build script on a fresh VM. I've torn down and built back up the cluster in Minikube several times. We gave it more resources. We bumped it up to I think 6 or 7 procs in the VM, and then when we did Minikube, we gave it 8 gigabytes or so, 8 or 10 gigabytes. So that that's a thing, and that was it. We talked a lot about the systems integration testing to establish whether it's working or not. The first point being, can you access the web interface? And we spun our wheels a lot on that. I am fighting internally because I am doing this for work. I am fighting internally a bunch of dialogue with myself about trying this in our dev environment and seeing if it would just work. But I still feel like the issues with getting it in Minikube and stuff. I still when I transferred over to work, some of this work, it's not going to be the exact same thing, but there's going to have to be Istio we're going to involved, and some other stuff's going to have to change and come out and be added onto that. And there's also the lingering knowledge that I need to get an actual lab running. If I Minikube service, Minikube tunnel commands were not working, of course, because it's running from a VM and the VM is headless and is running in Windows. So, wanting to start up your browser and stuff that Minikube loves to do, it couldn't do it. So, that if I'm glad I'm hitting all those problems, because that is actually going to influence my home lab decision. So tune in on Fridays for the home lab thing if you want to. But that is really definitely solidified my decision to make sure I have my own cluster, number one, and get KVM working on there, and to put some sort of desktop environment on it. And you might ask, well, why would you do that? I'm not a fan of Linux desktop, but by having a Linux desktop on my home lab, when I need to do a quick and dirty test of this kind of thing, I can VNC into it, and I can run Minikube, as sort of God intended, and it will pop up my browser and it will show me, and I can forward the services and do everything that makes Minikube great for really quick and dirty testing of development, of KSAP development, stuff like that. So that those hurdles that I hit with Minikube are actually good, because I actually really like Minikube lately. The latest version of Minikube has got a lot of things in it, including watching every single thing it does. I just found about this yesterday. Somebody told me it puts it all in a log, and so most of my development, I will maintain an individual cluster to run certain applications that I want. But to tell you the truth, most of the applications development I'm going to be doing is probably going to be standing up Minikube. I don't use Kind anymore. Kind is a great tool. It's still a great tool, but it can't hold a candle to Minikube these days. All the stuff that the add-ons for Minikube are just insane. We added the Ingress add-on yesterday. So I'm a huge fan of Minikube, and Minikube has gotten so good, in my opinion, that with a KVM backed driver on Minikube, you really don't need much more than that if you're an API developer. I'm honest to God. I think that's kind of the sweet spot where Minikube is trying to target. So that's the takeaway for today. Come join us if you want to be part of the debugging process and everything. Otherwise, I'll report back tomorrow. People have been asking about where's Go programming and all that stuff. If and when I do that, I'll be sure to make a video about it. But that is generally going to be what I do after this hardware stuff is done. I'm back to a bunch of Go coding. So stay tuned. There will be Go coding here. There will be home lab stuff on Fridays. There will be IRL things, but I'm not pushing the IRL and the yoga vids anymore. I'll make the occasional IRL clip or something like that, but that stuff you don't need to worry. It's not coming in the videos for YouTube. So thank you, YouTube. See you later.